Hey everybody, Ro Panuganti here. You might know me from my progressive metal music or my video game covers and albums and all that, but today I want to talk about something educational that I think would be super helpful, especially right now for independent musicians, and it's basically how to sell covers on Bandcamp. This is a really interesting topic because a lot of people use Bandcamp. It's a fantastic place to just sell your work, and it's been fantastic for me. I've been really lucky to work with a lot of labels or even independently sell my music on Bandcamp. Right now, you might be struggling to find a distributor that can get your music out at a pace that you want, or in general, you just want to be able to sell your music, your digital music, in a way that's quicker, easier, streamlined, and Bandcamp has been kind of this bastion of independent music. Why make a video about it? Can't I just post them on there? No, you need licenses, and just like a driver's license or a pilot's license, a license in general is just a tangible or written or digital proof that you can do something. And in this case, when you sell someone else's song that you've reinterpreted as your cover, you need to pay the composer. Weird, right? But in the current climate right now, I cannot stress how passionate I am for fulfilling that notion and respecting the notion that if I made a cover of someone else's song, they probably get a cut. Now, the law says that they get a cut, and it's a certain number of cents. I want this video to be timeless, so I won't say the number, but it's less than $1 for every dollar you've sold. It was 9.1 cents for a while, and that's gone up because, different acts and laws have changed. Speaking of course, everything I say, I'm not a lawyer, and please don't construe anything that I'm saying as legal advice. I go to Bandcamp and I buy your cover of Mega Man's Dr. Wily theme. You need to have purchased one license for that sale. So you might anticipate, 100 sales on your single, so you need to purchase 100 licenses for that cover. And then if you sell 200, you gotta go buy 100 more. Now, licenses are important because you actually need them, and the Bandcamp website literally tells us that you need to have your mechanical licensing covered. Now, does everyone use mechanical licenses on Bandcamp? That's not for me to say, and I don't want to broad brush anything, but if you don't see in the description a mechanical license, there's no real proof that the person actually paid the composer. They may have just made the cover, posted it, and because Bandcamp kind of puts the onus on the artist, you'll never know. But in terms of, whatever your ethics are, or just covering your base so that your track doesn't get taken down by the composer or copyright holder, you probably should definitely get a license for it. Licenses can be acquired across different websites, and it's not, too hard to find one, but I'm not going to be able to recommend one in particular. I'm not sponsored by anybody. I use easy song licensing, and I've used affordable song licensing. They both have great pros and cons, and if you browse around, you can make a decision for yourself on which of these, or any other service for that matter, you'd like to use to acquire these licenses. You'll need to pay a cost that generally is a little more expensive than putting your music on Spotify or Apple Music, but the difference, of course, is that you're selling a digital copy on Bandcamp or maybe even some other site individually, and you're going to be protected in that manner and acquire however much money you charged for it. Now, what can be licensed and what can't be licensed? This question happens so much that I'm not going to answer it in this video. I made a video recently using a service called Sounddrop, and I'm going to link it wherever this video gets posted, and that video explains pretty much from start to finish how to okay a song to be covered, and I would rather you watch that than me explain it any further and waste time. But it needs to be a song that was released in the United States, or published at least in the United States, on some sort of legitimate CD. When I'm talking to my video game music friends, this usually means that if a soundtrack was released only in Japan, it's probably not good and you can't cover it. Now, you also can't transform the cover too much, so you need to own all of the audio recordings, no samples that you don't own, don't remix the track by using the original track, and of course you can't add lyrics if there weren't lyrics in the first place, you can't translate it. There's a lot of broad sort of things you can't do because they fall under something called derivative works. But as long as you are covering the song in, this gray area general sense of what it was in the original form, you should be okay. Another aspect that you might need licenses for is CDs. Now, if you're selling physical CDs at a show or online or whatever, those are covers that you are selling, and your composer / copyright owner deserves, their cut. So if you want to sell CDs, you need to pay licensing costs for however many CDs you print, for however many songs there are. You can see how the money's starting to add up here, and this may not be a cost accessible form of your business right now for making music, but that's how it goes. And whenever you see people selling cover CDs and, getting the licenses, now you have a little bit of perspective as to why it costs so darn much. But that's what we need to do here. So if you go to Easy Song Licensing, we can go there together in a little bit. You're going to get to see the process, and you can buy physical CD mechanical licenses or digital. And on websites like Affordable Song Licensing, they'll actually do both for the same price, making it extremely cost accessible in bulk. Here we are on the website for Easy Song Licensing, and it's pretty easy to just go in and even inquire about what you want to license, so you can see how much it's going to cost. Now over here, I've got a new project that I'd like to create, and you can create a new project in Easy Song Licensing pretty easily, even if you're not going to make the album, just so that you can check the costs and you can kind of save a lot of your information. For our example, I'm going to choose a song that I know has been released so that I know it's licensable, but I'm also going to choose one that's available on Spotify. This allows me to kind of guarantee that there's a source that's been published officially of the song, and I won't, get in trouble for trying to license something that can't be licensed. I'm going to choose Simple and Clean from Kingdom Hearts, fantastic song, of course. And just through the process, you include your contact info, Ro blur that out. Then we include the title of our album or single, which I'm going to call Simple and Clean. And because I've typed a lot of my music to be in this format, I'm going to keep it with the source material in the title. I find that this is actually a nice way to show someone who may not know the source material where it's from, and it just happened to be a requirement for certain storefronts for a long time. The album artist is going to be myself, Ro Panuganti. I can choose a date when I'd like it to be released. I'm going to choose one in the future, so let's just arbitrarily choose October 2023, and then I can choose the formats that I plan on selling it. When you look at the quantities, it's important to check out what you assume you're going to sell. Now, the cost of these things will go down slowly as you buy in bulk, like many things in this world, so if you want to, you can pretty much just estimate how many sales you'll have as an initial. I usually go for 50 or 100 at my current, artist size, but you need to choose it based on what you believe, and that way you know that you're going to purchase it. Now, there are a lot of really important notices that'll come up here because they're going to help explain the process. So if I hit continue here, and I'm going to change, no, I'll keep the zoom. Now we can include the song title, Simple and Clean. It was recorded by, I actually don't know why the order of their name is this way, but Hikaru. And then my recording, let's say I made a 3.5-minute cover of Simple and Clean. Then we can click this button and bring down the composed by, arranged by, and published by information. This is a great way to kind of narrow down which Simple and Clean it is, or which version in particular, or, just in general, you can find out who was behind the composition, the publisher, all the information that'll help Easy Song Licensing find that cover and make sure that the money is going to the right place and that the ownership is correct, all your metadata is correct. So you can include that information. Since this is an example, I'm just going to lie. Composed by Karu. And you know what? Let's just pretend that the song was published by the same person. So then we can save this song, and now you can see that we have a song here that's ready to go. And of course, this interface, which I'm gonna have to blur my address, so apologies, but you're basically allowed to have a free copyright search where Easy Song is going to look before they even start charging you. Now, again, I want this video to be timed or timeless, so I'm not going to tell you, oh, it costs this much or that much, but I want to emphasize that this cost may or may not be accessible depending on your own budget, so do consider that. And then, of course, you can offset it with your sales. Once you've gotten your mechanical licenses, you need to kind of prove that you have them. So when you go to Bandcamp and you make a song that you're going to release, you can use different things like the proof of authenticity code. It's a code that you'll actually be allowed to purchase from Easy Song Licensing additionally with your mechanical licenses and attach it to any physical media or even digital album art so that you have like a little seal of approval proving that you purchased licenses. This is a copyright, sound, piece of art, and, it sends a good message to your fans, of course, that you're doing things right, the composer's getting paid, so on and so forth. Now, you'll also receive a code. That individual code is something that I always put on my Bandcamp releases, and you'll see this kind of common with quite a lot of different releases through labels that are doing things with mechanical licensing. Again, this is just one more way to re-emphasize that you have paid someone else to use their music, and you have gotten it out through the system, and in a manner of speaking, it's covering your butt. That's all we're doing. This whole video is about how to cover your butt when you really think about it. Take a look at my Bandcamp. This is all we have to do. We click add. Let's go for album, because why not? And then we can give our album a name, and we can also throw a UPC code if we've released our music elsewhere and want to track it digitally across, the internet. And then just as important, we can put in the album credits or in your About This Album, the actual code of your Easy Song Licensing source, and then when you sell this album, you can sell it knowing that you have actually paid for your mechanical licenses and the copyright holder / composer is getting their due. What happens now when you run out? How are you supposed to keep track of all this stuff? Oh my god, I sold 100 copies of my album, but I only bought 100 licenses for those songs. What am I supposed to do? This is the part that labels have been doing that you will have to do independently, or you can use some sort of third-party software to do. Tracking your cover sales. When tracking your cover sales, you basically just need to know every time you've sold a cover so that you can make sure that you have enough licenses for all of the sales that you've made, and you basically are reloading. It's kind of like one of those meal plan cards that they sell you in college. You just need to recharge it. So if I sold more than 100 copies of my Zelda album, Return to the Wild, for example, and I only purchased 100, I need to get more to kind of compensate for the sales. It's a good thing, of course, and you do your own budgeting to compensate for the cost of licenses and the cost of doing things the right way. But this is a crucial point where you probably want to track your sales. Now, if you're at a stage like me, you may not get a ton of sales all the time. You might just have one day of your release and all of the sales, and you track it. So I do recommend keeping a spreadsheet with, the most important information, or even just a count. But Bandcamp also gives you reports. So if you already have a system that's pretty comfortable, you might be able to just make a simple count or some sort of table to keep track of all your sales, and when you hit that golden number, you can just buy more licenses and you'll have all your information there. You can save it for tax purposes or whatever you need. I'm also not a tax preparer. There are other ways that you can actually get around this kind of issue, and one of them that I've been informed of is called Eddy.app. It's a service that allows you to kind of automate the process when it comes to royalty payments, which is something Bandcamp doesn't do natively as of right now, and you're also able to keep track of your sales in a more automated fashion. So whenever you're selling stuff on Bandcamp, it's going to go through and you're going to be able to track how many sales you've made and buy more licenses. This is a great solution for this kind of how the hell am I supposed to keep track of everything on Bandcamp problem. And ultimately, this is going to allow a lot more people to sell their music directly, although they may have to do a little bit more clerical work. But hey, if you wanted it to be convenient and low effort, you'd have to spend way more money or join a label, which may have its own kind of caveats. I've been selling my music through Bandcamp thanks to labels, or even just learning the process from talking to a lot of different people who know music distribution well. And it's been a really, really important part of my music growth, and I want it to be a part of yours as well. It's not fair that this information is kind of just spoken at random, or it's still changing all the time, but it's important that everybody gets a fair chance at making their music as good as it can be and putting it out to the world for people to to enjoy, and of course maybe even make some sort of living out of it. So if this helped you, if you wanted to make an album and you were scared, hopefully this has kind of clarified a lot of the things you have to do to get it out there. If you're still unsure, you can always send me an email. It's myname@gmail.com, or you can just shoot me a DM on a social, and I'm happy to chat. I've produced a lot of people's albums, from mixing to helping guide them through this kind of process, and I really want to keep that up. So if this helped, please let me know, and of course share it around with someone who might be wanting to make this kind of thing. Make this the resource that people hopefully can go to until someone makes a better one. Thank you. Have a great day. Final plug, I make music. Check it out. Have a good one.